T-Logic is located in Budapest in Hungary, which is in Central Europe, that you know. T-Logic is being on the market since 1998. That means for 20 years. TCPS is a BRMS, that means a business rule management system. TCPS is the most important product of us. The origins of TCPS go back to 2004. The letters in the name are for T-Logic's Central Permissioning System. Business rules, how the business decisions have to be done, have to be executed, are existing without BRMS, either in written form or even as a habit at every enterprise. In legacy systems, business rules have been implemented like other programs, but the frequent changes make this approach ineffective. That is why BRMS was born. As modern companies try to automate their processes using BPM like Bonita, the business rules are getting more important. I think that the formalism, how a business rule is defined, is the key. TCPS uses a declarative approach, which is natural for human thinking and easy to understand, as you hopefully will agree after this demo. The main part of this presentation is the demo. In this demo, a Bonita process will connect to TCPS using standard connectors. It would be impossible to explain everything in this short time, but if you try later this demo on your own, you will find easily the power of decoupled externalized business rules in your process. This demo story is simplified but complex enough to show you a lot of possibilities. First of all, I will tell you the hypothetical user story and user requirements. Afterwards, we jump directly into the rule definition, testing the rule and testing the process. We will have a look at the connectors also. I assume that you are familiar with Bonita BPM. If not, I recommend you to watch one of the great getting started videos of Bonita. At the end, I will list the most important features of TCPS and speak about how you can make your own experience with this demo. The hypothetical story is as follows. A bank is offering some loan products. Customers are categorized in 4 segments. A risk value will be set to each customer stating the probability for him of not being able to repay the loan. Smaller amounts will be offered to customers in lower segments. Larger amounts can have longer duration periods. Small ones should be paid back sooner. The smaller the risk, the longer duration periods can be required by the customer. Interest rates is depending on the risk and duration. I hope this makes sense, and probably you would agree that the texts with italic letters are very much subject to frequent changes. These are candidates for business rule implementation. Let's go on with the functional requirements. The bank decided to offer a process for loan applications directly to customers. If customer meets the criteria for some standard loan products, she can choose one of them, and the process will be finished by success. If customer doesn't meet this criteria, or she is not satisfied with the offered loan, the process finishes without success. As manual approvals and interventions are expensive and error-prone, they should be minimized. However, large deals for large customers with low risk should be checked manually by specially skilled employees. And again, texts with italic letters are frequently changing, and these should be implemented by business rules. Now let's have a look at the rule definitions that I have prepared for you. This is an Excel sheet, what you see here. Do not be confused about the first few lines that are in most cases copied from existing sheet. We should concentrate on the lines from 8. What business rules we found out based on the requirements until now is that standard loans are offered in ranges with specified durations. You see the durations, here you see the ranges, also the risk ranges. Specified durations to customers, which one's risk is belonging to a specified range and to one of the specified customer segments. This is the rule, basically. This is a logical expressions, a declarative representation of a business rule. Declarative because it doesn't define a procedure or an algorithm. As in this rule, all conditions are connected by an AND, a logical AND operator, as you see here. All of them in a row should be true to evaluate this expression to true. Of course, other logical operators like NOT or also are also allowed, and parentheses can be used as needed by the complexity of the logical expression. A row is called PVS. You see here, PVS stands for permitted value set. A rule segment is evaluated to true if at least one of the rules is evaluated to true. A rule can consist of one or more rule segments. This is the general segments, what we are seeing. We have also an interest segment, and the definition of the rule is called Bonita demo rule is here, and you see the rule expression here. In this case, we define two rule segments that you see on the sheet. The rule statement is also a logical expression itself. It can consist of logical operators, rule segments, and even other rules. Let's have a look at the interest sheet. Here you see the risk ranges, durations, and interest rates together define the permitted value sets. The process will collect the requested loan amount, customer segment, and customer's risk, and desired duration during the process as user input on forms. Not all of this input data will be available at the beginning of the process, just because of the very nature of processes, namely executing in time sequence. But all these conditions are bound tightly together. Because of this, I emphasize strongly that right business rules handle the rules as they are without breaking down in smaller redundant pieces. This is the reason why the TCPS rule engine has special evaluation methods, also for the case that not all of the data are available yet. The evaluation method that we call potentially evaluates the rule with the assumption that the missing yet unknown data will be replaced that way that they have to make the result true. For instance, we ask from TCPS if an amount 7 million can be requested could be okay without applying special exception level. We would expect that this would be the case for these durations because of line 16 and 22 also would permit this, relying on this data that we know already, namely amount and customer segment and risk. This would be the so-called is allowed potentially evaluation because we have not provided all data for the strict evaluation. Of course, if we extend TCPS input by the value 3 of customer segment, we would expect a false, because for 7 million, we don't see customer segment 3 allowed. Please try it yourself later. Play around with the rule using the TCPS rule center that will be available for you. Because of the very limited time, I will concentrate in this demo onto the so-called get condition to allow evaluation, which is really a key differentiator for TCPS. Let's assume I am a customer of segment 4 and of risk 02. Can I expect a loan of 7 million? Yes. Yes, I can. With durations 48 and 60 months. If I had less risk, I could get a longer duration period also with 72. And I could apply even for 8 million if this exception case would be allowed, because this requires an exception, the 8 million or more. Let's try it. I switch to the TCPS rule center. I would simply synchronize here my rule that I created, that I have just created in XLH, but I don't have to do that because I prepared already. That means I will start, I will start with the evaluation here. For the evaluation, I choose a method that is the get condition to allow potentially method, and then I take my rule. I'm searching for my rule. My rule is already implemented in TCPS. That's why I get this skeleton for testing. Let's say I'm customer segment 4, and I don't know the duration yet, but okay, I'm interested in it, what durations I can get. I am also interested what interest rate I can get from the rule if I apply for 7 million. And my risk is 02. Now I have to decide if I'm interested in exception. First, I would like to get through without any exception, and that's why I let it as is. I invoke the TCPS, and I see what we have seen previously, that I have got 48 months duration with this interest rate, or 60 duration with this interest rate. Here you see the conditions to fulfill the rule in the distributed normal form. That means end conditions discussion, and interest rate in an OR chain, in a list of ORs. TCPS does the simplification of the expression if necessary and delivers the result in distributed normal form. This is very important because this way client programs can make use of it easily, as we will do with Bonita connector output in the Groovy script of the connector definition later in our BR5 service task. Now, if the risk would be a little bit smaller, then we expect that we will get the 72 duration as well, and that's it. Now let's try with this with 8 million. If you remember, 8 million was allowed only with the exception, and this means there is no result, there is no condition that can help me to fulfill this rule. Okay, but I check it with exception level 1 or greater than 1. And now suddenly I have again some conditions that can make my rules true. Now make use of it. I hope this was clear enough. If not, you can repeat it after you will get a recorded presentation. Now make use of it in the Bonita process. The Bonita process looks like this. It's a simple process, but complex enough to show some interesting features. The process will be started by entering the requested amount. After this, a human task will be assigned to somebody. This is the human task. And you see here, I wrote it on this arrow, that the task will be assigned by a business rule. Bonita allows us to define actor filters outside of Bonita, and we use here a TCPS actor filter. This TCPS actor filter will evaluate another rule, the Bonita demo approve rule, which is a very simple one. We have some users. Some of them are working in the risk department. Some of them have right to make exceptions on level 1 and 2. Helen Kelly can make 2, and Jan Fischer can make 1. In this human task, we will input the 2 data. It's really very simple, the customer segment and risk. And after this, we will have a TCPS evaluation, as we have seen before in the TCPS rule center. The goal of BR2 to call off the Bonita demo loan, asking the conditions for exception level. This looks like this. We have BR2 connector defined here, and this is very simple. The query decision attribute is the exception, and what we deliver here is basically the loan amount, the customer segment, and the risk is delivered to the TCPS. The TCPS will be called, and the output of TCPS, if the result is empty, then is no condition that we call this variable risk to high, this boolean, this will be set. If there are conditions that make the logical expression true, then we have a minimum exception level. It may be 0 or 1 or 2, and if it's greater than 0, then an exception enable flag will be set. This is also very simple. A bare exception will be returned as 0, or will be returned as that was found here in the rule. Okay. At this stage, we have the logical variable risk to high, and if risk to high is set, then if risk to high is set, then we take this bench and go to the human task not okay. This task is basically there to show all the results and flags set during the process. If the task assignment should use an exception level, then we will take this branch, and in this human task is again an actor filter that is assigning the task to persons who have exception level, as you have seen previously in the Excel sheet. Okay. The third branch is, in this case, already the default one, is that everything is fine, and the customer, in this case, the process initiator, can go on and choose durations. The durations can be selected here, but this BR5 business rule task will prepare the available durations and interest rates from the distributed normal form, as we've seen in the TCPS output. The query is simple. We ask for duration and interest rate, deliver the process business variables for the decision, and we accept a list of lists. And this list of lists is easily shown in this human task by the UI designer of Bonita. This task is basically an exception of the offered duration, interest rates, pairs, or refusal, and in this way we get through the process into the okay or not okay case. I hope so that this is roughly clear for you. Let's try with the last example that we have seen in the TCPS rule center with 8 million and customer segment 4 raised 01. Let's start this process. The default user and Bonita is always Walter Bates. Walter Bates will initiate the process. He is actually working for sales in this process. And we will have to log out and log in several times because other participants are involved. Okay, the requested amount, as I suggested, 8 million. And of course, this is now not at Walter Bates because we have to go to someone who is at risk. For instance, William Jobs is working for risk. And William Jobs has got this task. He has to take it because all the risk people have it in the task list. Take it and say customer segment is 4 and risk is all the fun. And basically now how happens the same as what we have seen in the TCPS evaluation. This, as you remember, this has to be approved. And as far as I remember, Helen Kelly has the right to approve it. Yes, Helen can do this exception, and she is so kind. She accepted this, and after this is again the task at Walter Bates, the customer, who is now has now to select. He's the only person. That means we can directly go here and Select from the available duration and interest that was provided by TCPS is a list of lists and presented here in the UI designer. We say it's accepted. Oh, sorry, select the row. I select the row 60 and 4.5. Submit it. And hopefully we landed at OK. And we see a summary of what we did. Requested amount was 8 million, customer 4, risk, duration, interest rate. We used the exception level 1. Deal is accepted, risk was not too high, exception was used. Okay. We can try one or more scenario. We apply for an amount that will be not available according to the current rule. This will be very quick. Customer, let's say customer wants an amount of 8 million, but he is belonging to customer segment 3. Okay, this is William Jobs, the risk person. Yeah, he has to make the rating. It says it's customer segment 3. A very low risk, 0. We know that it doesn't matter because we know the rule. And okay, let's see what has happened. I think it landed at Walter Bates with a not okay. Yes, this is the case. Risk was too high, basically loan not applicable. I would like to switch back to the presentation and to summarize the main characteristics of TCPS. Some of them has been explained during this presentation, some of them are not because of lack of time. I think probably the most important is that business rules can be read, modified, and tested basically by anyone. You can easily add PVS, change the values, and even the structure can be changed easily. But a skilled business analyst is needed for creation, I think, and also for changing the rule structure. But even for rule creation are not programmers' skills required, and I think this is very important. And even not programmers' logic is required. Some rules are complex by nature. TCPS is here to support them by the ability to reference another TCPS rule in the rule evaluation expression. The limit of complexity in a rule is really only imagination and computing power. But on the other hand, you can also decompose your complex rules, create reusable rules, and avoid redundancy. TCPS can reference data provided indirectly by plugins. For instance, accessing database, etc. You could use the built-in LDAP group plugin to fetch group membership info from an LDAP server. That is a very important issue in real production membership queries. A rule has many perspectives, not just true or false. TCPS provides all, and this is theoretically and factorial. In this demo, we use two perspectives of the same rule because I simplified it a lot. You see that this is the numbering of the rules is 2 and 5 because I had much more. but I had to simplify it because of the time frame. In other rule engines, this would mean at least 2 separate rules with a lot of redundancy. A rule has always validity time. Past can't be changed, but future modifications can be scheduled. Past, present, and future rule versions can be equally evaluated and tested in TCPS Rule Center, but performance is optimized for present versions. Constants and parameters used by multiple rules are best to define as named constants, which are available globally for all rules. The ability to add labels to TCPS rules is a great way to categorize your rules. The TCPS rule editing tool is there to provide an integrated development and test environment for TCPS rules, including the ability to maintain and execute test suites. By default, TCPS performance is optimized for the common rule complexity that is about around 100 permitted value set. And it's also optimized for quite frequent, let's say, every minute modifications. However, by modifying some parameters, you can optimize TCPS performance for your environment. It is even possible to have millions of PVS in a single rule with very good response times. Permissions to create, modify, and view rules can be set in TCPS Rule Center through dedicated rules. The TCPS architecture was designed for large enterprise scale. Through the use of Java Enterprise Server clustering and LDAP directory clustering, TCPS can be scaled up to a huge throughput. TCPS can provide you detailed logs and evaluation info about a single request, so you won't have to switch your entire environment into debug mode. Now, some final words and suggestions for you. In a few days, the recorded version of this presentation will be available. Please register to be notified immediately. You will get hands-on experience in 2 ways. Either using this process, as you will be able to download it as it is. In this case, you will be connected to the same TCPS instance that I have used during this presentation. You will be able to test the process with the presented rules just out of the box, just after importing the .bos file, but you can't change the rules. The other way is that you download the VMware image, and you can change the rules or define your own. This is very easy also. If you would like to know more about TCPS, please try this link. And if you find this presentation interesting, write me or to this forum, but you would like to learn more deeply. We are going to produce a series of follow-up webinars, and we will take your proposals into considerations. If you register on our portal, you will be notified when new presentations are available. If you need a Bonita license, contact directly Bonita. Thank you very much.